you can't get the sheer size of this waterfall. It's huge.
As usual, it's uncharted. They get you in there, and then when you get to a certain point, they're like, I don't know, you're on your own from here, mate.
Why do we do this to ourselves? All in the name of our self-inflicted adventure. Here! Along with us, we also have a cruise ship and dinghies going back and forth, about 50 caravans and a few coaches as well. So it's a very, very busy waterfall. I did not realise. Like, there are waterfalls that are closer to Reykjavik, which is easier to get to, which are a lot less busy than this one is. So people definitely go out their way to go and visit this. Did not realise. But we have an amazing view right here. Even if we don't get off the boat, it's still amazing. But I think we will try and go to shore, just have a little walk up to get a bit closer. But we're probably going to do it later at night when hopefully a lot of the other cars have left. Well, there's not no people, but the cruise ship's left, so there are significantly less people. So we're going to go head to shore now. If I'm being brutally honest, we may very well have the best view from here. And there is not too much of a path and walking track up there, so we probably won't spend too long there. I do feel really bad every time.
Not enough to change though.
No.
Yep, you should be able to get out dry footed. Jump
I kind of do feel like I have a chariot.
Every time I come ashore for some reason in Iceland, I don't know why, because usually there's not much there. Can't help but feel like you're like coming ashore, like I conquered this land. I have discovered. Then of course you take a step, about 3 or 4 steps off the main road, sorry, off the beach, and you end up on a main road or a hot pot, or there's change rooms or a sign.
Yep. It's they've got very, very good transportation here in Iceland. They really have.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said this already, but there's, what is it?
3 million tourists a year.
3 million tourists a year.
And the population is?
300,000. So there's a 1 in 3 chance you're talking to a local. Sorry, 1 in 10 chance you're talking to a local when you come around. I must admit, I thought I would feel more off the grid.
Yes.
Like more out in the wildlands. Like,
it's true.
And obviously the infrastructure is the reason I don't, but like, guess we got to go further off the reservation for that feeling.
I think that further up in the West Fjords we might feel a little bit more like that.
That's true, very true.
I think the anchorages so far that we've been in, there have been like roads attached to all of them. So where we've been like, oh, this will be a little secret spot, a car's just pulled up and been like, oh, hey, I'm here too. So,
we're in Iceland,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the West Fjords I think will tick that box quite well. There are no roads where we're going. This sounds like a name of a great album. There are no roads where we're going.
Should we title the episode that? There's no roads where we're going.
It's actually not bad. Stand by.
Alright, this is the waterfall. Few days since our hot pot.
There's a river somewhere in Scotland that they say if you dip your face in it, you'll be beautiful forever. But I've done that, so it doesn't work. So every time I see a river, I'm like, splash some on your face, maybe you'll...
Okay, maybe it is also quite good up close, I won't lie. From the boat, you can't get the sheer size of this waterfall. It's huge. Didn't quite realise that the tide was going to come further up. Yeah, you don't even need to change into your boots.
The west coast of Iceland is predominantly subject to northeasterly winds. From where we started in Reykjavik, that meant it was quite challenging making our way north. In the last 3 weeks, we've made our way from fjord to fjord, with our ultimate destination being the West Fjords, nestled predictably in the northwest corner of Iceland. On the way here, we've stopped at some stunning anchorages and have been blown away with what we've seen. Unfortunately, we've shared some of those anchorages with a great many other holiday makers and cruise ships alike. Isafiora is the unofficial capital of the West Fjords and is set behind a natural harbour, making it a good base from which to start our exploration of the more remote Hornastranda National Reserve, where no cruise ships have yet dared to tread and where no roads will take you. In fact, your only companions will be the people you bring with you and a handful of intrepid hikers who are dropped off there by the occasional ferry from Isafiora. This is exactly what we dreamt about when we set sail from St Martin many months and 4,000 miles ago.
I honestly thought there'd be a little bit more wind. It is meant to pick up a little bit later on throughout the day though, so fingers crossed we'll still be able to get a sail in. It's nice to come down this fjord though with no cloud or fog, actually being able to see the mountains that we missed on the way down here. Finally, sails up, blue skies, beautiful scenery.
Are you ready?
Yep.
A little bit, pretty tight on the wind, but we're still moving. We must have really got the current right, and it seems like it's behind us because we're like really close on the wind. We're 30 degrees off the wind and we're doing 7 knots out of 17, so it's actually pretty good. Pretty choppy.
Starting to see some snowy mountains. I'm so excited to see snow, like sailing close by to snow. I know all these people who live in snowy countries are like, oh, you'll soon get sick of that. But it's still a novelty to me. Having come from like Caribbean and then Australia, you know, it's like, wow, we're sailing past snowy places. certainly has been a gusty old afternoon, but luckily, thankfully, we're finally coming into the fjord called Isafiora. We are going to pull in for the night and make our way tomorrow to the glacier.
Mate,
Hey?
we need supplies pretty desperately, so fine.
Do we have a puffin sighting?
Puffin! I
Yeah!
thought that's what you were pointing the camera at.
No! All I heard in the background was puffin! Well, we are just pulling into Isafiora, the biggest town in the northern part of Iceland. I'm actually going to have to look that up.
The northwest, in the west
The biggest town in the West Fjords. Let me rephrase, shall I? You can guarantee that one. It's about 10 o'clock now, so we're going to put a yeah, I think I'm ready for bedtime. It's about 10 o'clock. We're going to go and put a hook in. There seemed to be on the chart a marina area, but then quite a large anchorage area close by. So we're going to try and go into the anchorage area. As scarred as I am from anchoring at the moment because of all the kelp we keep dragging up. Oh my god.
So much weed.
Oh.
You need to put a
my
knife
goodness.
What am I going to do about that? Is kelp worth any money? Because if kelp's worth money, we're going to be rich.
I'm really hoping this one isn't too bad. And then tomorrow we'll probably go and explore the town tomorrow, I think.
It should be a really nice protected anchorage. Like the whole town sort of acts as one massive break wall. But essentially, like, we loop around behind the town, and then in here, there's all one big bay, and there's a tiny, tiny channel here to get in. So really, like, it should be quite a lovely anchorage and quite a protected place to hang out for a little while.
Well, we are here in Isafiora. We have been here for a couple of days, a few beautiful days. Unfortunately, the weather has just completely done a 180 and, okay, it's not miserable, but it's cloudy. And we know how much Adam doesn't like cloud.
We time the like recharge, reload and rearm kind of days with the glorious sunshine. And then when we're like, all right, ready to get out there and get amongst it again, it's cloudy.
Always. So, welcome to another cloudy day in Iceland. We are planning to head off today to go and visit a glacier. We need to go get some fuel on the way though.
Yeah, we need fuel and water. We're run out of water. We haven't run out of water, but we're like a third of a tank, which is actually a lot. And we've got about 60 litres of water in jerry cans. So we're precariously, dangerously low on water, but enough to survive a few days out at the glacier.
Yeah.
And there's so many waterfalls around, I'm not at all worried about it.
So true. We have fresh water all around us from the waterfalls.
Unfortunately, there is some sort of cruise ship convention on behind us, so all of the dock space is occupied. So it's a good time to go, but we do need diesel, and it's a little bit of a malarkey to get diesel. Not just like you pull up and fill her up, thanks Jim. It's a bit more involved, weirdly.
I have a feeling this is the second time that we've ever pulled up to a jetty to go and get fuel. One time was in when we first bought the boat in Port Charlotte, and this will be the second time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ads?
No.
The rest of the time I think we've just hauled jerry cans.
What about Ponte Delgado? No, Lanzarote. Did we get fuel there? Suffice to say, you don't go through a lot of fuel, or rather, you don't go through your whole store of fuel often. Like refilling fuel is a half-yearly activity for us, and really more.
I'd say yearly sometimes.
It's probably half-yearly because of just all the fjords. Like, we have been doing a lot of motoring, but that's just how it is here. But in the Caribbean, like trade wind sailing, or even doing large circuits, you know, like, you just don't spend a lot of diesel. Like, even on passage, when you motor for 100 hours, if you do that couple of times a year and you maybe top off your batteries like once every week, when you have 120 gallons of fuel on board and jerry cans, you really only just need to top it off here and there with jerrys. So yeah, this doesn't happen often.
It's a big event for us here. Oh my god, fuel, wow! We're all fueled up, ready to go now. Navigate around these cruise ships again.
Right, that's that done. So the deal with the fuel in Iceland, marine diesel, is that sometime in 2016, something like that, the Icelandic government decided that boats don't have to pay road tax on the diesel, which makes it cheaper than what you get at the roadside bowser. Because of that, they were like, well, now all you Icelanders are going to steal the diesel because it's cheap and it's essentially the same thing. And so they put another legislation in place that means you have to have a registered business and a card to be able to buy diesel from a dockside pump, which is why people like us, like Billy Blowin, can't just say, yeah, fill her up, that'll charge me whatever, because we don't have a registered business and thus we don't have the card. So we have to go to either the local fuel station or the harbour master, and they have to come down to the dock and pay on their card, and then they sort of put a little premium on it for their troubles. Anyway, we did a bit of shopping around and we got a reasonable price on the diesel, and there was a lovely man on the dock waiting for us, bang on 1 o'clock. He swiped the card, we filled the boat, we gave him a fistful of cash. Done.
Sounds thoroughly dodgy when you say it like that.
Yeah, I know.
but it's actually the legitimate way to get fuel here.
I hope we can get somewhere near like a snow-capped mountain, if you will. Even if it's just to like tramps around in the snow and like play toboggans or whatnot. I hope we can get close to it.
Actually, I think that's pretty good. Alright, come on to the wind. Come on to the wind. Oh, I see.
Moving along nicely.
Yeah,
I suppose I should drive
You
this.
should probably steer, yeah.
It's so nice to have the wind. It's not behind the beam, but it's outside of 60 degrees from the nose. Like, this is the nicest sailing we've had in a month since we left. Actually, since we've been in Iceland, period. Because it's just been always to weather. Always. You're always tacking and playing the angles and trying to make the ley line. So this is lovely. Like, no substantial tide to deal with, and just 60 to 90 degrees off the port beam, 10 knots. It's great. It's nice. Really, really pleasant. I think I can see a glacier through the just crack in the mountains there. I reckon we're going to come another half an hour. We're going to come past this big mountain and we're going to look down the fjord, and I hope we're going to see a ginormous fjord.
We see ice! Don't look at me! Look at that! Look! It's a glacier!
We almost made it down the fjord. Not really, we didn't almost make it. We got halfway.
Unfortunately, to actually get close to the glacier, we are going to have to go directly downwind, and the wind has currently just dropped to 5 knots. So we'll probably put the sails in because we only have like a couple of miles left to go anyway. Almost there!
So we're on our final approach. Well, not really, we've got about, I don't know, we've got 45 minutes till we get there. However, this, as usual, it's uncharted. Basically all the fjords, they get you in there, and then when you get to a certain point, they're like, I don't know, you're on your own from here, mate. And that's pretty much the story here. Our charts just go to like a cross-hatched blue, sort of saying, oh, you've got anywhere from 1.6 to 2 meters and change. But we do have a guidebook which has some very helpful tips and sort of a mud model map. And what it's given us in this instance is something called a back bearing or a transit bearing between two features. So as we come into the fjord, I'm going to sit on the back and I'm going to shoot a back bearing to a transit line, which is essentially a cliff on the edge of a neighbouring fjord in line with a waterfall which will be in the distance. And when those two things are in line and you follow them, then you're sort of in transit. You're able to follow a certain line into the fjord. So it's definitely the first time we've had to do this, but yeah, it's all good skills to have.
Yeah. So what Ads was saying about finding 2 points on a map and lining it up, I've pretty much just done that here. So this will be the cliff, and this will be a waterfall on land, and then this is the line that we need to line them up by, and that is the path that we have to take to get into this anchorage. So we know that there are some rocks at the entrance which are called, what are they called? Black velvet.
Bizarre name for a rock.
And one of them says that it is 0.2 meters, so it sometimes shows out the water. So that's something that we definitely don't want to hit. But the fact that there have been 2 markers placed on the charts, pretty sure that it's in that spot, so we just need to avoid that spot, really.
And those markers and everything we have on our chart corresponds with the guide. You know, if it looks right, sounds right, probably is right. So we just have to take it real slow. Real slow. I'm driving at a speed that I expect to hit something, so that when it happens, if it happens, it's not a surprise. I'm like, oh, what was that? Okay, back out. Try again tomorrow.
6.2, 6.1. Once again, very nerve-wracking anchorages. Ugh. Why do we do this to ourselves? All in the name of our self-inflicted adventure.
This is like, I mean, it's going to be cloudy, but like, how many times do you get to anchor under a glacier?
I know.
In like an uncharted anchorage, or it's loosely charted, but like, it's not every day you get to do that. So.
It's very, very true.
We have passed it. It's just on the beam, starboard beam now.
You know what the one benefit though, after all of this, not only just anchoring under a glacier, obviously that is benefit enough in itself, but when we run the engine, I make pizza because the engine bay is hot enough.
Got it in the engine bay?
Yeah.
Where?
I've got the dough rising in like a warm space. Usually you'd put it in like an airing cupboard or on a radiator or something like that. I've got it in the engine bay. So when the engine's on, it's heating up my dough for some pizza tonight. It's under the sink.
Under the sink? Just what? Just sitting on the floor?
Yeah, pretty
in a
much.
pot? Yeah, why not? It's a good idea.
Hoses. It's just chilling. We're here! We're under a glacier!
Where is it? There it is.
Where is it? Oh wow, weird, film that. Jellyfish.
Where?
Whoa!
Fancy a swim? How's the
No,
length
thank
of the
you.
tentacles?
Look
or
at that.
stingers?
I mean, if the cold water didn't put you off, that is a surefire way reason to not go swimming in Iceland. I've seen so many of them around as well. There was one coming in that was like red too. But they're huge, they're massive. Every one I've seen is huge.